my name is Sam. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing my October TBR featuring Stay Spookyathon as well, and a couple other readathons that I might dabble in. I don't think I will ever be released from the shackles of competitive readathons now that I have started, but we'll get into that later on. First, we're going to start off with what I was supposed to read and whether or not I did read them. So to start off, we got Out of Your Comfort Zone, and for that I originally picked Alpha's Burden by Luna Lark, aka Veronica Eden, and I did not read that, but I did read Bride, which is another paranormal slash shifter romance, and so I'm gonna count it for this prompt. I do have the option to switch things out if need be, and because this one fit a prompt for Slayer Fest and I ended up reading it anyways, I'm just gonna use it here. Then I had a Kindle spin which randomly generated a number, and it picked Bound by Treason by Eliza Tilton, which I did read. Then we got Pick a Book on Another Person's TBR, and I read The Friend Zone for the Abby Jimenez read-along that my friends are hosting, and I did read it and attend the live show. It was one of my lesser faves of Abby, but you know, watch the live show, get the deets. Then I got a book club pick, and for that I picked Until I Get You by Claire Contreras, which was the Sweeney Readers Book Club Book of the Month for September, and I DNF'd this book, which does count for my game. Then we got Retire a Series, and for that I picked King of Sloth, which I read and absolutely loved. And last but not least, which was actually the first pick for the video, I had A Punishment, and for that I picked a book out of my TBR jar, which was Since We Last Spoke by Brenda Ruffner, and I did read that one as well. So I have completed my TBR, and I do not have to pick a punishment book out of the TBR jar this month. So that means we will be doing our regular 5 spins, and as I said before, I am participating in Stay Spookyathon, so I'll talk about that TBR at the end. The other 2 things that I'm going to be loosely participating in do not have set prompts, and or I have not made set TBRs for them because I'm loosely participating. So I'm just going to talk about them just to spread the word in case anybody else wants to participate in them, but we'll get into that at the end. So let's move into our next round of gameplay. Last time we finished and did a giveaway, and I have already sent the gift to the winner, but that means that this round we are starting off from the beginning of the board, and I'm so excited to do another round and see what ends up happening this time around. So let's go ahead and head on over to the board. Okay, so spin number 1, a 9, and it is red, so red, black. We're going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Starting off strong with a Kindle spin, which we hate. Okay, so for the first spin, we landed on a Kindle number generator, and I don't know if this number is the same as the last time, but I have 244 books that I can randomly generate, and if it is the same, it doesn't even matter because last time we landed on a series, and even though I didn't like the first book that I did read for the Kindle spin, each book is written by a different author, so I'm going to keep the rest of the series that I do have and just read it if it comes up. But let's go ahead and generate our number, and we have 162. You can see my light, that's crazy, but let's go ahead and check what's 162. Reluctantly Yours. Let me go ahead and pull that up. Okay, so Reluctantly Yours is by Aaron Hawkins. I'll put up a picture right here, but it looks like a workplace romance where the guy, his name is Barrett, is trying to become higher up in the business, but in order to do so, he ends up lying to the person that he's talking to about having a girlfriend and being head over heels in love, and thus has to start fake dating his mother's assistant. And you know, this is reminding me of that one Megan Quinn, I don't remember what it's even called, I'll pop a picture up right here, but I read it last year and it was okay, but it has the same kind of premise where it's a workplace romance fake dating in order to like appease to somebody else. So we'll see how I like it. I love fake dating as a trope, so this one might be a hit for me, and the cover is really cute. Spin number 2. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A prompt. A small book. Beauty. For the next spin, we got a prompt, and that was small book. And for this, anything under 250 pages would count, but because I'm trying to make this attainable and achievable, I'm going to pick something that is super, super small, and that is Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. This is one that was put on my radar by the besties, and I'm going to be using it for a prompt on Stay Spooky, which is why I even have it on here. I don't know much about it, except for I believe it is a reverse harem, and it's also a spooky novella, so I'm super intrigued. Not really a big fan of reverse harems or why choose stories, but you know, I'm trying to stick it out and find the one that is for me, and hopefully this will be it, because I know Dana is also not a why choose girly, but loves this story, so we'll see how I feel about it. Okay, spin number 3. A 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another prompt. Match my outfit. Okay, this could work. Next, we landed on another prompt spot, and we got match outfit. And if you can't see, I am wearing a sweatshirt with my man on it, but it is also red and black. And I had the perfect book on my TBR for this, and that is After Dark with Roxy Clark, because it is both red and black and also has a person on the cover. So this is perfect. All I know about it is that it's a YA thriller where the female main character does ghost tours and then ends up in a sticky situation with a murder that actually happens close to home for her. This is also one of Nikki's favorites, so I'm excited to get into it and see how I feel about it. Spin number 4. Another 9. We're moving along crazy right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 4 moves left. Let's spin for red, black, red. Black. Perfect. So that means we go just straight down the middle, and we had moved 5, so we have 4 spots left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another prompt. Go to the graduation spot. Okay, so that actually sends us all the way back here, because this is when you go from career to college and you graduate at this first stop sign. So this spot actually means Wheel of Chance. So I have to get out my iPad for this one, you know, in the cutscene. And that's just going to be a wheel of things that I want to read and a wheel of things that I don't want to read. We landed on another prompt spot, and this time it sent us all the way back to the beginning, just after I said we were getting far fast. But we got sent to the beginning, and that meant that we needed to do the Wheel of Chance, which is going to be a selection of books that I do want to read, mixed with a selection of books that I maybe not so much want to read, at least not right now. So really quickly, I'm gonna run through those. First, I have a cozy from the Cozy Mystery series. I just put cozy because this is like a wheel that I created a while ago, so anytime I want to read from the cozy series, I can just leave this one on there without having to name the exact title. But I put cozy on there. Then I also have Days of Blood and Starlight, which is the next book in the fantasy series by Laini Taylor. I'm blanking on the name right now, but the girls are doing a Laini Taylor read-along, so that's the next book that we have to read. Then I also have Clown in a Cornfield 3, which is one of my most anticipated releases for the year, so I would really love for that one to come up. Me and Dana are going to be buddy reading it together regardless. And last, for the ones that I want to read, is Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy, which is another most anticipated release of the year, which is the second book in the Boys of Avix series, Say You Swear being the first, which I'm currently rereading right now, so I would really love to get that one as well. Then for the books that I don't really want to read, we have Quicksilver, which is a book that I was supposed to read this month, but I just couldn't get around to it with everything that was going on, and it is a really chunky romantasy, so not to say that I don't want to read it, I just wouldn't like to get it right now. Then I also have The Girl with the Louding Voice, which is a book that's on my These Books Will Self-Destruct list, simply because I know I can get the audio right now, but it's not something I want to read right now. I mean, it's also on this list, and the time for the end of the year is vastly approaching, so soon I'll have to unhaul this book if I don't get to it. Then I also have Hera, which is a newer release slash pick from Book of the Month that I've recently acquired. And again, I'm just not in a fantasy mood, but it is a newer release, so it wouldn't be too terribly bad if I got this one. I just don't want to get it right now. And then last, I have a really out there pick, and that is Kaleidoscope Hearts by Claire Contreras, simply because, like I said earlier on in this video, the girls did read a Claire Contreras for their Sweeney Readers book club this month, and it wasn't for me, but I still really do want to give Claire Contreras another chance. But because I DNF'd a book previously, this one is not high on my priority list. So let's go ahead and spin and see what we get. I'm not going to do a screen recording. I'm just not in the mood for all that editing pizzazz. So we're going to do it, and I'm going to show you what I get. Period. We got CC3. So Clown in the Cornfield 3 is officially on my Pages of Life TBR, and I could not be happier. If you don't know, this is the third book in the series Clown in the Cornfield by Adam Cesare, and it is a slasher, a YA slasher set of books. I don't know if it's a trilogy. I haven't ever looked into it if this is the last and final book, but right now it's a trilogy, and I'm super excited to read it. The first book I gave 5 stars, the second book I gave 5 stars, and I have high hopes for this book. But not least, spin number 5. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another prompt. Go to the married spot. Okay, perf. And then we read a romance. And then last but not least, after the board sent us all the way back to the beginning, it decided to be a little nice and jump me back up for some extra progress and set me to the married spot, which means that we get to pick a romance. And for this one, I'm going to be slotting in Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is the Ba book club pick of the month that I have so graciously been asked to co-host with Clint from Reads Readers, Lori from The Chatty Bookworm, and Hope from It's Hope Books. All of their channels and announcement videos will be linked down below, but like I said, I have been asked to co-host this month, and this is the book for the month of October. I don't know much about it except for the fact that it's a queer rom-com, and I'm super excited to get into it. I know this one is a fave of some of the besties that have read it as well, so I can't wait. Now that my TBR game is out of the way, I'm going to go over my TBR for Stay Spookyathon, which, if you guys don't know, is a spooky-based readathon happening for the entire month of October, hosted by some of my dear friends, Nikki and Dana. Both of their channels and announcement videos and the Instagram for the Thrills and Chills book club will be linked down below as always. But this is a readathon that I am super excited to be participating in, and actually makes me a little bit emotional because it is coming. Oh my god, why am I about to cry? This is like a full circle moment for me because I had recently come back to BookTube in August of last year, and this was the first readathon that I ever participated in. I am not gonna cry right now in this video, but I just love the girls so much and everything that they put into the readathons that they host, and I was super nervous that they weren't gonna bring it back. And when they announced the second installment of this readathon, I couldn't be happier. So I quickly got to work on picking my TBR, and of course, ever since meeting the girls, I have to achieve a blackout with 1 book per slot. So let's get into what I'll be reading for these prompts. Thank you for avoiding the tears. Anyways, I'm gonna pop the board up here and we're gonna talk. So the first prompt is to read a slasher, and very obviously I will be picking Clown in the Cornfield 3 for this prompt, which I just spoke about, so I'm not going to dive too much into that. The next prompt is to read a paranormal book, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki, but this is one of the tags for this book on Goodreads. So for this, I'm going to be picking Gothicana by Runix, which again is a Nikki fave, and some of the other girls are reading this month as well, so I decided to jump in on this now while everybody's going to be reading it and possibly get some good discourse. Super excited to read this. It is a Beauty and the Beast inspired and or retelling, so you know I'm all for that. And also Nikki actually gifted this to me, so this is the perfect time to read it as well. The next prompt is to read After Dark. Just be able to check this one off because I can do this with anything. Next prompt is to listen to a spooky ambiance, and this can happen during any of the girls' sprints, which you know I'll be at, so this one is going to be easily attainable as well. Then we have adult thriller, and for this I picked This Is Where We Talk Things Out. I know nothing about this except for it is one of the Literally Dead book club picks for the month, and this is the only one out of the three Kayla from Books and Lala picked that is on KU, so that's why I decided to participate in this one. The next prompt is to watch a spooky movie, and right now I have no plans, but I know my man is gonna coerce me into something because it's Halloween. Next prompt is true crime, and for this the girls are pretty loose on the interpretation, so I think I will be listening to a podcast as opposed to reading a book, just to cut down some of the reads and things that I have to read this month. Next prompt is to read a book with an animal on the cover, and for that I will be slotting in the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez, which is the next book in the Abby Jimenez read along that the girls are hosting. The girls being Dana, Karina, Kaylani, Tara, and B. All of their channels and announcement videos will be linked down below as well, but this is the second book in that series and the next book in the read along. I don't know much about it except for who it follows, and I don't really want to spoil that because if you haven't read the first one, it might be a little bit of a spoiler who it follows in this one. Next prompt is to do a buddy read, and for this I'm going to be sliding in Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, which again is the second book in the series that I can't remember the name of, but the girls again are doing a Laini Taylor read along, and this time the girls mean Dana, Karina, Kaylani, and Lindsay, so all of their channels and announcement videos will be linked down below. The next prompt is to read a cozy mystery, and because I am already in the middle of a cozy mystery series with Dana, I will be reading the next one that I have to read, which is The Wedding Cake Crumble. The next prompt is to read a book with feminine rage, and for this one I'm going to be slotting in My Sister, the Serial Killer, which I don't know much about, but it is a book that has been on my radar for a long time. And originally when I wanted to read it, the hold and the wait times for this book were extreme, but now there is no hold. I can readily check it out at this moment, and it is a pretty short audiobook as well, so I'm super excited to have this one on the TBR and hopefully love and check it off my backlist TBR in my mind. The next prompt is to read a host fave, and this one is the one where I will be sliding in After Dark with Roxy Clark, which is one of Nikki's faves for the host fave section. Next we have Set in the Fall, and for this I will be reading Fall Into You. I don't know much about this except for the fact that it is a brother's best friend's romance, I think. And yeah, I saw it in an email that I got from one of those people that I'm subscribed to, one of these email listings that I'm subscribed to, that was sending me like all the hottest fall reads, and this one looked intriguing, so I'm reading it. Next we have Gives You the Creeps, and this one I can't say it for sure will or does because I've never read it obviously, but I'm going to be slotting in Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and the reason for that being is the two that I have read from him freaked me the fuck out, and so far I have given his books nothing less than a 4.5. I mean, actually both of the reads that I read from him were a 4.5, so I'm super excited to continue with his backlist, and also again with one of Nikki's favorite books, so I think we're on a trend here. Next we have audiobook, and for this I'm going to be slotting in the next book in the Cozy Mystery series, which is Dying for Devil's Food, and that's just because again I want quick, fast reads for some of these prompts so that I can feel accomplished and actually black out the board with one book at a time, because I attempted to do that for another readathon and I ended up having to double up after I wanted to black it out, with one book per prompt. So I'm really trying here to set this up strategically. Next, we have orange or black cover, and for this I'm slotting in a Carnival Obsession, which is a dark carny romance, and one that I don't know much about, but I saw it on somebody's wish list once and I added it to my TBR because I had already read No Place to Hide and really loved that one. So even though dark romance is not really my vibe, I just figured because it's similar in setting that I might enjoy this one. Next, we have Spooky Novella, and this is the prompt where I will be slotting in Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. Next, we have Sky on the Cover, and for this one, I'm going to be reading Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. I can't remember if it's an I or an A, but craziest thing, she actually just did a meet and greet or Q&A, whatever you want to call it, author signing event at my local bookstore, and I wish I would have realized that she was who she was so that I could have attended, but that's neither here nor there. I'm super excited to read this. The cover is really cute. Nikki also just read this one. Nikki, you are a fan favorite in this video apparently, but she just read this one and enjoyed it, and also made a comment about how you shouldn't let the cover fool you because it's actually really spicy. So I'm intrigued. Next, we have Treat Yourself, and I don't think we have to read the book or whatever if we buy one, because I think you can also borrow something from the library or things like that. I don't think we have to read it, so this will just come as it comes depending on how I'm feeling, what I'm feeling during the month, or also what's on sale, okay? Then we have 2024 release, and for this I'll be sliding in Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy because I'm going to read it. I have to read it. I will read it. So if it fits on this TBR, listen, it's going on there. Again, this is the second in the Boys of Avex series by Megan Brandy, Say You Swear being the first, and this one is going to be following Mason. Oh my god, I can't wait. I'm so excited. And we have the group book, which is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead, and I don't know anything about this, but it is, like I said, the group book, which means that this is the book of the month for Thrills and Chills. So even if you're not participating in their readathon, you can still attend the live show and read the book club book of the month. And again, all their information will be linked down below. Last bookish prompt is to read a YA thriller, and for this I'm going to be reading one of Dana's host faves, which is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. This is one that I actually saved months ago when she mentioned it to my Goodreads want to read list in preparation for this announcement video if it was going to occur, because I really just wanted to stock up on some of the spooky reads for like these prompts that they were gonna come out with. So I'm super excited that I didn't read it when she first talked about it, and this one I know really nothing about, but it's another short audio, so I'm happy to have it on the list. That way I can fly through some of these. And last but not least is a non-bookish prompt, and that is to revisit a spooky fave. And I say non-bookish because this can be bookish, but it doesn't have to be. So I can technically revisit a fave by watching a movie, which is probably what I'm going to do. And if you were curious, some of my top fave Halloween movies are Corpse Bride and It. So I might be watching one of those. That is everything for my Stay Spookyathon TBR. Now let's get into the ones that I want to loosely participate in. I say loosely even though one of them is a competition-based readathon, so honestly if I didn't fully participate I probably won't be getting all the points for my team, but I know there are some people who participate in competition-based readathons and just don't get to fulfill all the prompts during the month because they're just not reading fast enough, or what they're reading don't fit the prompts. So that's how I'm going to take this in stride. I'm just going to say that I'm going to participate and hope that what I already plan to read fits it. But I just, like, I'm telling you, readathons have me in a chokehold right now because anytime I see one, I'm like, I have to participate in that. So the one that I'm talking about is Fablen, and it is hosted by the Word Nerd on Booktube. I will have her information and channel link down below. But essentially, it's kind of like a mythical place, castle, I don't remember, library, I don't remember, but it's a mythical place, and there's guilds, and you pick a guild that you want to be in, and then you create your character. And then during the readathon, the prompts that are dropping are essentially challenges and or acts that you're completing as your character, and so you have to go through these challenges and read books for the solutions, which are prompts, to face the challenges and make it to the end. I guess that's how it works. But again, this one is kind of loose because I don't know what the prompts are going to be, and I don't know if the books that I'm going to be reading and picking up are going to fit the prompts, but I'm hoping that they do. So I'm going to be participating in this the same way that I did Slayer Fest, where whatever I'm reading, hoping that it fits. And honestly, that worked out pretty well for me this month because Slayer Fest is already on prompt 9 and I am currently reading on prompt 8, but everything so far has worked out. So the only things that I really have to talk about this one, aside from what I've already said, is that like I said, you can create your character. So with the characters come extra points for certain things that are picked, and I did this strategically to hopefully help with the TBR that I've already built. So my character is going to be a changeling whose extra points translate to reading anything that is considered suspense, so thriller, horror, and mystery. Obviously, I did that because most of the books that I'm reading for Stay Spookyathon will fall under that category. As you can see, I rarely had a romance on here, so I'm hoping that works out in my favor. Then we had to pick a profession, and the profession that I picked was healer, and this is simply with each profession comes a list of words that can be in the title for extra points. And the only reason I picked healer was because it was the only profession that had one word that is in a couple of titles, a couple meaning almost literally two, and that is only because she is allowing for different conjugations of the word to count. So the word that I'm talking about is death, and I believe two of the books that I have dying or die in the title, so that's how I'm going to count that. And then last but not least, we are to pick a weapon, and the weapon that I picked was mace, which the points correlate to reading backlist books, and that's because after counting up everything that I had for Stay Spookyathon, 12 of the books on there count as backlist. So if they can overlap with prompts, I have more opportunity for those extra 25 points, whereas other weapons may not have given me that same opportunity. And also, whatever guild you're in, if you read books with mainly that color as the prompt, that can also count for another 25 points. I just didn't really care to mention that because the guild that I'm picking, I believe, was the Shadow of Ages, and my team color is white, and I don't really have any white books on here, so I most likely won't be getting extra points for that. But that is all I have to say on that. And the only other thing that I am, again, going to say very loosely participating in, as it would give me extra advantage in this readathon, is Leandra's readathon, the TBR Harvest, which has 3 different activity sheets that you can do. And I'm just going to be doing the mood reading one, where you collect different items based on what you read. I'll pop a picture up here, but for an example, there's like a cat on there, and you can read a book with a cat on the cover to collect a cat. Or I believe there's another one, candies, and it's like read something sweet or something like that, so with a sweet word in the title. Actually, I think it is. So basically, you just follow these prompts and you collect these items, and you can double up on this one. Being that I'm participating in that, and Leandra is also co-host for Fablen, and also actually the co-host for the team that I'm going to be on, you get like an extra bonus, the Ring of Illusion or something like that, where one time during the entire readathon of Fablen, you can swap out a book for a prompt, a book or a prompt for something else that you're reading for a different readathon, something like that. But you know, any advantage, I'm gonna take it, especially because it's a competition. Even though I'm not gonna fiend, but if there's an advantage, I want it. And then the last 2 things that I really quickly wanted to go over were the last 2 reads that I'm going to try to get to this month, that weren't mentioned in any of these TBRs. The first being Contract Bound by Ella May, the Fiction Falls Book Club Book of the Month. And this is a sapphic vampire/vampire hunter fantasy romance. I'm intrigued, but I'm also nervous because when I first looked it up, the reviews weren't so great, specifically on the side of there were a lot of grammatical errors, and things wrong with the writing, which is why I didn't put it for a prompt on one of the readathons, because if I DNF it, I want to have, you know, I don't want it to mess with what I have. So I'm gonna attempt to read it in hopes that it goes well, but I don't have high hopes going in. And then the last book that I want to talk about is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which is, if you've watched my TBR for last month, I'm doing a book club with my brother. So this is our buddy read of the month. This is what we will be reading together, and yeah, I'm super excited to read this one. It was actually really funny because it was on my hopefuls for last month and I just didn't get around to it. And then he sent me, oh, I know what book I want us to read this month. And then he sent me this one and said, I can buy it for you if you need it. And then I said, I own it, okay? So super excited to read it. I'm nervous about this one as well because it does sound like it leans more on the literary fiction side, which I'm not always a huge fan of, but I think I could get behind it because it has the suspense aspect. So I'm excited to read this and see how I feel about it. But that is everything that I have to talk about today. I need to hurry up and get up off this because my mouth dry. So thank you guys so much for watching. Again, everybody who I have mentioned, announcements, book clubs, all the things will be linked down below. And I'm just so excited to participate and stay spooky and, you know, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.